I am sorry. I was talking for a half hour and it didn't go live. I do not believe that. I am sorry. I wasted my breath for a half hour and I got to start all over. Oh, man. All right. Go back to beginning. Stage 1. Rev.Hawksblood here, calling from the big island of Hawaii. No wonder I didn't see nobody going in the chat room. You can't get in it. Where do I start again? All right. We're going to be dealing with lies coming in from every greetings, whoever you are. I'm sorry. It didn't go live when I hit live. It said go live and it didn't. But here's the thing. We're going to start with lies of reality. Why are we here? I mean, that's the first question you should always ask yourself. And you need to get the answer before you die. All right. But the lies around what we are programmed to believe, think, and see and hear are pretty bad. I'm going to go through each aspect of that, from religious people, spiritual people, government people, UFO people, and every aspect of that. If you got a question, please put it in the chat room. But here's the thing, people. This started a long time ago. The lies. When did we deal with truth? We were living in truth a long time ago, and it was called Atlantis. All right, it's over 100,000 years ago. Sadly, they were killed, most of the people destroyed. But there were 9 races, 5 races left before they were killed, 4 races stayed. Obviously, the races that are still here. All right, they weren't all wiped out, but many were killed. The Egyptians, the Mayans, the Aztecs, all the other tribes, they were dealing with not a god. They were dealing with aliens. Sorry to tell you that. The Egyptians' truth is pathetic. The Mayans, the native people's truth are great stories. There's storytellers everywhere in all aspects of religion and path and spiritualism and everywhere else. You can find that by just listening to what they talk about. And basically, they're trying to tell you you can be better, have everything you want, and be happy. Does that sound like a spiritual statement? Yeah, sorry about that. I talked for a half hour and it wasn't live. So we are in a place where we are programmed from the time we're born to believe the lies. What lies did they give the children? Superman, Batman, Green Hornet, Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, the Fairy Godmother, Tooth Fairy, all of them. And they do put God in there somewhere. And then when they get a little bit older, they take all of them away except God. How's a child supposed to accept one out of all of them? Well, why is this one real? And why do you tell me all the other ones were real? You know, programming, which it is very evil. Especially when you're not programming them with the truth. You don't have to program people with the truth, you can just give it to them. Not that people want to hear the truth, but because they're so programmed against the truth. I'm going to try to forget everything that I already said to try to go back over it all. But it's the beginning. When Atlantis was here, mankind, men and women, were spiritual. Murder, killing, okay, that didn't exist. All the words that we use did not exist. They were I call it the Garden of Eden. I was there. It was incredible. There were multiple races, different colors, not just red, white, black. All right. They were different colors. There was the blue race, the green race, the purple race, the crystal race. But they all left. They knew the planet was going to be destroyed. Well, Atlantis anyway. But the ones that were there stuck it out Only a few survived and started over. But they were reprogrammed by aliens, not by God, not by angels. The Mayans, the Aztecs, the Egyptians, all those tribal people were fed lies, and they believed it. They lived in those lies. Uh, I'll get back to Jesus. We'll get to him in a little bit. Uh, but these people that were there at that time frame were programmed into killing, sacrifice, and women became secondary to man. Period. All women. Love did not exist for about 100,000, well, maybe 80,000 years. More than that even. Because only 2,000 years ago, love came into existence. I bet you didn't know that. Love didn't exist. No Buddha, no what. None of them talked about love. Moses didn't even talk about love. There's not one word about love in the Ten Commandments. Love is not a word. It didn't exist. Women were slaves. Always. Abused slaves. So when Jesus was born, and she was Immaculate Conception, I mean, Jesus had brothers, and his wife, his mother gave birth to children. The Immaculate Conception, well, I'm not going to go into it. But in those days, did they have precautions? Did they use precautions? I mean, when people sleep and they have sex and all that kind of stuff that people are aware. There was a show on recently, young girls pregnant, not knowing how, why, or where. So it's not beyond the imagination to get pregnant. And there's very odd ways to get pregnant. But again, Jesus was born. Now, Mary Magdalene was the spiritual being at the time. Mother of Jesus was not. Now, in the churches, everybody gave mother, the mother of Jesus, all the power, all the fame, fortune, and all the other words you want to use. She didn't do much in the Bible after she gave birth to Jesus. And that's all she did do. Mary Magdalene was the one that walked and did and led the disciples after Jesus was killed. Not the mother of Jesus. Mary Magdalene had 32 psychic abilities, which Jesus had. I'm going to go into that. I did mention it before. Sorry. Jesus left his father when he was young. Why? He had a mission. And his mission was to go through ascension. People, the word is abused today at every level. Nobody I know on this planet has gone to ascension or could even prove it. You can say whatever you want. Proving it's another thing. Nobody. The Pope, the Dalai Lama, I mean, the so-called spiritual people, Eckhart Tolle, Deepak Chopra, and all those names, they don't know what it means. They don't know what death means. They don't know what reincarnation means. So they're going to know what ascension means? To rise to that level? Impossible. All right. Now, when we talk about birth, when Jesus was born, they didn't have many words like we do now. They were farmers, fishermen, people like that. Sure, there was the clergy and the leaders, the rulers and things like that, kings and queens, and that had power, but they had money. And the only thing that ran everything was money. Always! When Atlantis was destroyed, which ran on no money, money became the only thing valuable. And the alien interpretation, they created man to dig gold, which is another fallacy, false story, delusional. Zachariah Sitchin created a story which many UFO people believe. I'm sorry, but he was evil for writing a book, and I'm sure he's got his karma from writing it, where he went when he died. All right. When you write a book and you say it's real, all right, you're responsible for what you put out there. All right? I mean, you can't use names if it's not real because you'd be sued and all those kind of things. So if you use the word Jesus, just because he's not around doesn't make you protected from saying whatever you want about him. I put my life on the line and everything I say, people. I live in truth only. The only person the only thing that I'm indebted to or follow or have to be respectful to is God itself, not the angels. I work with angels, but that doesn't mean I have to be respectful to them as far as they're my God, because they're not. People like Muhammad work with Gabriel. Gabriel is an angel. Well, how do we know Muhammad worked with the real Gabriel? Because his brother told him that that was Gabriel? Read it. Read the Quran. Read the facts. Read what he was taught, what was said. It all contradicts each other, contradictory to each other. One sentence says, do not talk to people. The other one says, talk to everybody. Contradictory. Every third sentence. So an angel wouldn't have to come down here to give us contradictory stories or lies or twisted truth. The same as God did not have to lie to his people if he was really with Adam and Eve. That's not God. God wasn't there. Sorry, people. Oh, and the Pope came out a couple years ago saying Adam and Eve was a fake story. But he also said hell does not exist. It does exist because we're all in it. So we don't want to say we're in hell, so we're going to say it doesn't exist. Because this is as far down as soul goes, people. When soul gets punished, put back, it's back to planet Earth. This is the only place soul can be tortured, beat, create pain, suffering, and die. All right? You can't kill people on the astral plane. I'm not going to get into that in detail, but souls that go, they can't kill people. All right? So when people say, well, blah, 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 it's all lies. When religions come out, and almost every war we had was based on religion. Say they're spiritual. Did they ever follow the Ten Commandments if they're religious? Oh, people, the Ten Commandments aren't evil, people. They're not false. They're not, like, useless. They're beneficial to the human race if people listen to them. But don't forget, that's only part of the Ten Commandments. There was the second part of each one of them, which Mr. Moses didn't bring out. But he did come out with 613 other stupid laws. Oh, stupid? If you read it, read his 613 laws. Not one person on this planet could live by them. And they never could. I watched the Hasidic Jewish people, and they can't live by their laws. It's impossible. Today, it's 10 times more impossible than it was even then. But cutting your fingers off, poking your eyes out, and all that kind of stuff wouldn't happen ever. And the biggest lie is in the Bible when it says Jesus said that Moses was right. Moses said horrible things. Jesus did not. Jesus didn't talk about self-destruction in any form. People, if you don't know Jesus, you shouldn't use the word. Christ consciousness is not a word for people that don't know him. It means it doesn't exist for most people. All right. So I'm going to talk about spiritual people that claim. I said all this, so I have to try to balance it out. The separation between spiritual and religious is one thing. God. Religious people believe in a God, not that the story is right. All right. Now, the spiritual people believe in universal energy, being one with that. And what does that mean? Really? Or universal consciousness. But they throw in the word Christ consciousness. If you don't believe in Jesus, how can you use his energy or what it was about and claim it? You can't. So they lie to you when they say all these horrible, twisted fallacies. Religions, people, are important to the people that study them. Spiritualism is important to the people that claim to be spiritual. But in a spiritual realm, you got many people saying they went through the word that's so far from them, called ascension. Person I studied with was teaching ascension in the 80s in Hawaii, but she also didn't truly understand what it meant because she didn't go through it. Only one person that I know in all of history, went through it. Not the Anunnaki, not the races and tribal people from any generation, Egyptians, Mayans. They didn't go through ascension. If you go through ascension, you got 32 psychic abilities that come with it. Jesus was the only person that had it. And he never used 32 of them. Just so you know. All right. He did use many of them, but not all of them. I'm going to go into a story, and it has to do with truth and lies. There's no truth about Jesus out there, and there's all lies about Mary Magdalene. The truth about Mary, the mother, is all lies because she just gave birth to a child. She had no superpowers, no super abilities, or nothing like that. And she gave birth to children. All right, and that was a long time ago, and they didn't have protection, and they didn't have ideas of how somebody could get pregnant. I mean, today there's women getting pregnant and don't even know how they got pregnant. There's a show on TV with women, young girls that are pregnant and say they never had sex and all these other words. So again, people, Immaculate Conception is a great word. Jesus was the most incredible spiritual being that ever walked this planet. But he did come out of a womb, and he was born a human body. At that point, he was the most spiritual being to walk this planet. I'm not claiming religion has a clue to Jesus, because they don't. They don't know who and what he was. They don't know what he did. Really. What he really said. They know what a stupid person trying to translate something they don't know into. Jesus gave teachings to the disciples. Oh, love. Love is what? What is love? How do you teach love? You can't. You can teach romance. You can teach all the aspects around it, but you can't teach love. You can't force somebody to love you either. But you can force many people to hate you. Isn't that amazing? I can force the whole planet to hate me, but I can't make the whole planet love me in any way. So when they say the world's in balance, it's not in balance. It's so far out of balance, people. You'll notice that over the next 8 years. I mentioned it, but I'll bring it up again. Sorry. The New World Order. It's called UN Agenda 21-30, which is where we are, people. As the world changes and gets worse this year, it's that. And we're already at phase 4. It has to do with everything that's happening. From medicine to disease, sickness, contamination, bombs, war, all of it is part of it. All controlled for a reason. Now, are the richest people on the planet involved with that? Some of them at some level, some of them at no level, and some of them at super high levels. Meaning, why they're eliminating cattle in the United States, why they want to cut out all farms, why they want to eliminate our food, all these things, people. Do you have a clue? Do you know what's going on? You should. You know, I am so sorry that this show didn't get started. Oh man, I went through so much stuff already. Well, when we go on what Jesus was teaching, Jesus was teaching about God, a real God, not a synthetic one, not a man-made idea of a God, but a real God. And nobody's teaching that on this planet right now. It's sad. Now, people that wrote Conversation with God, who I tried to debate live, these people have no balls. They're afraid to debate the truth because they don't have it. And Thorothy Lantian, who actually brought people to this planet, said the truth will destroy the lies in the end. But when is the end? It will happen. Whether the whole Earth is destroyed, whether all the people on the planet are destroyed. I'm sorry, I'm going to go around in circles because I already twisted everything up now. There's a video online of an alien being tortured and talking. Pull up alien interrogation. There's 3 parts of it. It's real. You don't have to believe it, but listen to it. Listen to what's said. Listen to what's happening to this little alien sitting in the chair, and you decide. But they're trying to make him tell what's going to happen because the alien says one person's going to destroy the planet. And they wanted him to tell him who that was, and he said he couldn't. But they were torturing this poor alien. I wouldn't say poor alien. They don't have feelings and emotions like we do. They've been hurting mankind for a long time. But people, there's so many things happening together right now, and all you hear is the spiritual people claiming to be that. Everything's going to be okay. We'll be the best we can. We'll become 6-dimensional beings. We'll be able to do this and able to do... Really? Not one of them can do one thing yet. Now, CERN, C-E-R-N, is trying to go into dimensions. I could go into that, but that's a whole complicated story. But there are 369 are the points of the levels of dimensions. Each realm has 3 dimensions in it, meaning the physical world has 3 dimensions, not 6, 7, 8, 10th dimension. No, there's only 3. And we're in one. And when you go into the second one, that's when you're already out of your body. So when they talk about these things and trying to get through a wormhole and all, it's all stories, people. It has nothing to do with how man got here. Nobody knows in general on this planet when man first was brought here. Brought here, not created here. The Anunnaki did not create the human race. I mean, we hear stories about the Galactic Confederation. All I'll say it's a program. It's a frequency. Everything they ever said never came true. All the people involved with the S-Star Command and all that. All right, it's all lies. Look at the world, people. Don't look at me. Look at the world. You don't believe we're moving to a spiritual place? We are not. Name one spiritual person. Put it in the chat room. Anybody that listens to this, send me a letter of who's a spiritual being. I listen to these gurus and lamas and all these people talking. Pray for the world. Praying? Did it ever help anybody? Ever? Oh, well, it creates miracles when you believe in... for every miracle you have 10 other ones that aren't. You get sick, you lose your leg, but I want to live. Oh, you live. You lose your other leg. Oh, I want to live. You live. Now you get hit by a car or a plane and you die. So were they really miracles? We call things that feel good or make us feel good or make us think it was good a miracle. What's all the bad things that happen in your life? Just forget it. Just not think about it. It's not real. It is real. Because when you have bad karma, one of the most important words on this planet for people, you're never going to get to heaven. And heaven is called the astral plane, people, not heaven. Heaven's a man-made word for a place that exists, the astral plane. And there's little gods called deities that control that realm. And you can't go from the astral plane into the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th realms and things like that until you go past those deities first. And it's not like, well, I'm going to study and go past them. No, it's not like that, people. Are you ready to move forward in your spiritual truth? Are you willing to find it? Do you want to know what it means, what it says, what it's about? Do you care? Do you want to listen to these lies? I hope I can cut this half hour that I was talking and nothing went down. I am so sorry, people, that happened. My dog's afraid of fireworks, and they're just going off, and they're really loud. It's illegal for fireworks, most fireworks here, but people still do them and shoot them up and everything else. And the police said, call it in. Tell us, take a video if you can. Let's film my neighbor shooting fireworks off and get them turned in so that they can come in after me. They say ridiculous. Even the police, the government, tell us stories, tell us stupid things. In other words, they're going to protect us from fireworks? Really? We're living in a world where nothing matters. There's no such thing as morals anymore. As a matter of fact, we reversed all the morals and twisted them and molded them into whatever you want to call it. All right. Now, why is the world like this? Well, people, you want the truth. It wasn't one alien. It wasn't one person. It's what happened from people that the government created. All right, what they did. And it all has to do with the Montauk Project and the Philadelphia experiment. Realize how long ago that was. It created a vortex opening in New Jersey, which should have never been opened. It allowed and it allows entities, creatures, and all kinds of bad things to come into this reality now. All right? Good things aren't coming through it. Well, in Wanaka, New Jersey, the vortex opened. Tesla was working with DuPont underground. There, if you check the history, you'll see the city was flooded. They had to buy everybody out and flood the city. But for 9 months, ships were going in and out of that reservoir. UFOs, not our ships, not Russian ships, not Chinese ships, not German ships. I'm not going to go into the whole story. But when I was working with Sarge L-18, we went up there every other day filming creatures, entities, UFOs, every other day for about 4 or 5 hours. We shot more pictures of things, entities, ships than anybody else in the United States. And for years we put it out there. But you didn't hear a thing about it, did you? We did a show called Strange Universe. The person that was involved with filming a ship crash on Long Island was supposed to be on air. He's in the nut house since 1996. We were threatened as well during the time frame that we were lecturing around the United States. But somehow, Sergeant L-18 and I was protected. We saw many people disappear, friends, UFO people, friends disappear, killed, whatever words you want to use. Why? Nobody wants the truth. Well, people say they want the truth. The government says they're releasing the truth. And what are you getting? Nothing. Religions say they got the truth. And what truth is that? Spiritualism says, well, this is the answer. To what? There's only a few questions. I don't know how long I'm going to do my show tonight. But here's the questions you need to think about. I'll see if I cut this half hour, and I really ask you to send this to everybody you know, this video. What are the reasons why you're here? What are you supposed to do while you're here? Where do you think you're going to go? Why? What do you do to get there? What do you have to do before you get there? All these little questions. What is your real purpose? Does God need you? Really? Do you think so? You think you're important to God? How about maybe you're just a grain of sand on a beach on planet Earth? Oh no, I'm a ascended master. Really? Do you even know what it means? No. Truth is out there, people. People don't want it because it doesn't fit into the little boxes they deal with. All right. What I'm going to ask you your idea of God. Do you have one? I'm telling you this from the deepest part of me, my soul, my heart, my connection to God, the angels, the deities, everything I worked with. What is the truth? Why are you here? What's going to make your life better, worse, or whatever? Believing in the guidelines and all the crime still goes on. So I guess the guidelines aren't that important. And people, when they do something and they can get away with it, they're happy that they got away with it, or they feel they can always get away with it, or they won't get caught. Well, that's called karma. You build it and build it and build it and keep creating it. It just gets bigger. It doesn't go away. And when you die, it stops you from going and staying where you should be going if you didn't create all that mess, which sadly you already did, and you don't know why. All right. Now, karma was created by Buddha, the word. All right. It means what you do, you got to pay back. So when religion came out, and they came out with forgiveness, and I said it before and I'll say it again, Jesus didn't come here to save your sorry ass. Not at all. And don't forget, Jesus didn't save that many people. Very few people were listening to what he was really teaching. Sure, if he gave away money, everybody wanted it. Everybody wanted healing. But did anybody want to do for the responsibility to get it? Were people ready to let go of what they did? You know, there's a thing, if you don't know what you're doing and you do it, how accountable to that are you? Well, there's a certain amount. I mean, the inner nudges and the inner feelings, if you knew the truth and you still did it, or you felt the truth and you still did it, or you just didn't know and you said, well, it could be okay. That determines how high the karma gets when you create it at that for that one thing. But you create it all along the way. Smoking, drinking, drugs, abuse, and all that crime. All those words create karma. Giving money, helping people isn't the cure for getting rid of it. It's what you need to be a happy, peaceful life, but it doesn't make you spiritual either. Sending unconditional love to the world every day doesn't change the world, and it doesn't change your karma. The lies that you get fed about being spiritual, name one spiritual person. The Pope is anything but. Dalai Lama, he wasn't dealing with it much. He's dealing with peace and world peace and everything. And his country's slaughtered by the Chinese and taken over. So, you know, the old saying, practice what you preach. Well, is he doing anything he's teaching? His country, his lamas were setting themselves on fire, begging him to come back. He knew he couldn't go back because he would be killed. All the people that followed the Dalai Lama were arrested, killed, and women were raped. Sadly, the temples, they destroyed 250 temples. If you go to Tibet, the one temple there was set up by China to make it look like Tibet, even though it's not. It's a controlled country now, and China controls it. People, the lies come out of everything you think you know. Schooling, did they teach you anything important? Well, money is not the important thing, people. You may believe it to be. You need it, but is it the most important thing? No, it's not. People live without eating for a year. I'm not making that up. But how many people claim that they're spiritual could even do that? Not many. What is spiritual, people? Do you know what it means? Can you attain that? Do you want to really attain being a spiritual being? And why? What do you think? If you die tomorrow, where do you think you're going to go? Give me one split second. My throat is so dry. Sorry about that. So, where do you think you're going to go? What do you think you're going to do? Or you really never think about it because you don't want to know and you don't think there's anything there. Well, people play games with themselves, their ideas, and their ego. Well, I'm going to go to heaven. I was told I'm going to go to heaven. By who? God? When we believe our lies, we're already past the point of not creating karma. You have to know what's right and wrong. And there is a right and there is a wrong. And what we assume is right is not always right. And what we assume is always wrong is not always wrong either. So the balance that everybody talks about is a balance that we really can't touch because we don't know how to get there. Well, listening to God, listen to your true self is the first step. If you can't hear your own self talk to you, which means soul, you're never going to get past the lies. Now, in the UFO world, everything's lies in the UFO world. Everything. They're removing the word abductees, they're changing it to experiences, meaning, oh, it was a good experience. There's no good experience going on a ship with an alien. Nothing. No matter what you hear, what they say, what they preach, what they try to tell you, it's not good. I show you a picture of a rainbow and say, well, that's everything. No, it's not. It has nothing to do with what we're going to do with you when we take you. And there's only a few things aliens need us for, people. And on the UFO shows, and everybody says, well, we wish we knew. We don't know. We're searching for it. The answers are simple. They're here for only a few reasons, people. And they're here in a great way right now. And I truly believe they're going to manifest here for the world to know shortly. I think they're going to wait till we're in the middle of a major war. If we go to war with Russia, I think they will manifest. They love taking dead bodies. They love taking people that are on the battlefield because nobody knows what happens to them. They love taking people in the park, in the forest, and where nobody can see them being taken. There's thousands and thousands of people being taken in the state parks now. Did you know that? And they don't have to report it either. Well, 21 people disappeared last week. They don't have to report that. And they don't. So, why I'm saying this, you're going to listen to the lies, and you'd rather than listen to the truth. I wish you could reverse that. Don't listen to all these lies. You could feel something. You can feel whether it's hot or cold. Close your eyes, take something super hot, and something like dry ice or something, and touch them. Which one do you think you can tell what it is? You really can't. They're both going to be burning. So how do you tell the truth from the lie? How do you tell the good from the bad? Well, listening to spirit. When you go in, close your eyes. And there's always two voices there. The mind is a program that talks. All right? Look at it this way. So, well, you should go to the store. You should buy some apples. You should invest in this. All those little stupid remarks. Stay home. Do a meditation. I mean, meditation's not the whole answer, but it's a starting point. to help you focus on yourself at least. But there's many things you have to add to a meditation to make it be beneficial. Beneficial meaning to learn something from it. Not to escape your body, not to escape your pain, because no matter what, you're still going to be in pain. People, there's a wide... Hold on. That won't stop if I don't shut it off. I should have realized it would go off. Come here. I'm going to try to bring my little guy up here. A little munchkin. I'm going to tilt the camera just so you can see him. Say hi, Mr. Gizzy. Say hi to all the people looking at you. Hello, everybody. Well, all right, people. Let me just fix this again. Sorry about that. I mean, he is real finicky with the fireworks going off all day already. It's going to be until who knows what time tonight. Touch the camera. Well, let's get into the lies of the government. They can't tell you what they do with aliens. They can't tell you about the space program. They cannot. All right. That has to do with called weapons. And weapons. When you're fighting a country, fighting an army, fighting people, you say, well, this weapon does this. And if I use it, no, you don't tell them what you're going to use. Well, you try not to. Try not to let them get it. All right. And basically, everything with alien technology is not beneficial. Well, like Velcro and all those kind of little words came out of nowhere, but what came off of alien suits and things like that. Was it beneficial for us? Of course it was. But when Mr. Tesla worked with this alien race, which he did, and he was given 200 inventions, 50 of the most deadliest weapons on the planet. So if you think that's a good thing, you think Tesla was smart? No, Tesla wasn't that smart. Or he wouldn't have released them. Time travel is probably one of the worst things we ever allowed to be created in this reality. Tesla said we couldn't go back. Einstein said we couldn't go backwards and forwards. And then Tesla proved we could. All right. But it's not making mankind better. And changing history changes reality. And when man starts playing God, we are in trouble. Same as my guy is going off, and I'm in trouble now. Hold on 1 second. Let me just make this. Sorry about that. All right, people. What do you want? What do you want to know for real? Was Jesus real? Of course he was. Was Mary Magdalene real? Yes, she was. She was the most spiritual woman to walk this planet. I want to go into, I guess I said that, but I didn't say it in this part of this, what I was talking about. Let's go back to Jesus trying to teach his disciples, which is important, whether you're religious or not. What was happening was really important. Jesus didn't come here to teach love and forgiveness. And that's what all the churches created from what they think it was happening that he was teaching. And it's not. He was teaching about God. These people had no clue what the word God meant. Egyptians, the Mayans, the Aztecs, the native people, the tribal people worshipped everything and anything. From everything from animals to half human, half animal, to triple-headed, triple-armed, and all these other kind of deities as well. Now, Something you need to know. Deities are real, but to the level of the way Buddhism and Tibetanism and all these kind of sets use the word and try to use the energy of it is not real. If you don't know what a deity is, I call him a little god in the they have abilities and stuff. If you read the histories of the deities that Hinduism was working with, Shiva, Durga, Kali, and all those kind of words, they are real. All right, but are they really here? I'll tell you this. I work with 3 different deities. They're real, but they're not sitting here talking and trying to teach me about here. I want to say this. I don't think I ever talked about it, but I will say this. I worked with Shiva for a while. The killer, the destroyer, the creator. All right. When I did, the word instant karma happened to everywhere I go. For 2 years, if I met somebody, instant karma just happened to them. Usually bad. I mean, it was their karma, had to be paid instantly. Part of it, piece of it. I'm not going to go into all the details, but it was instant. The second I walked in the house, the second I met somebody. And that's when John Lennon wrote the song Instant Karma is Going to Get You. It does. But it was just, I was bringing it to wherever I went. And that's not ego. I just saw it. I would walk in the house and they'd fight, break something, and blame me for it. Or when I just met my ex-wife for the first time, she got pulled over and got a ticket. Things like that just happened everywhere. Everywhere I went. And I begged to change that, and I did. I stopped working with Shiva. But, I worked with a different deity, which was more on a compassionate side for a much longer time and much more important for me at that time. So when you say, what are you going to study with? Who are you going to study with? It's not who or what. It's where and how and why. Would you want to study with a deity? Would you want to study with an angel? Angels aren't teachers, people. They don't come down here to teach. You don't see angels teaching a class. People might say it and things like that. But even Muhammad, when he studied with Gabriel, he gave him a whole bunch of phrases, and they all contradict each other. So, was it a real teacher? I doubt it. Was it really Gabriel? I doubt it. Now, the other word that people don't like to hear is Satan. Satan's real, people. Jesus did face Satan for a long time. Satan's as real as you are, but much more important than you are. Satan has a job of keeping all these people here. And that's what it does. Now, the other word that people relate to, which is not the same and not the same entity, is Lucifer. In the movie, TV series, Lucifer was my favorite show. But it would, because he was the son of God. All the angels, when they were cast out of the higher realm, were for certain reasons, people. And God had to reconstruct the whole inner worlds because people just can't rise to a higher level and not be at that level and stay there. You can't be high today and drop down to a low life tomorrow and stay in the higher worlds. The worlds wouldn't exist. They'd be torn apart. There's a lot of work, a lot of construction, a lot of energy that God put into creating these realms. The realms that help God are on the 5th plane and above. Mainly the 5th plane. That's where you as a soul dwell when you attain spiritual awareness. All right? You can go beyond it. There are words that they use in those realms called spiritual travelers, meaning able to travel into the higher realms beyond that. but it's all given okay by God itself. No schmuck, no, sorry, wrong word. No person that thinks they're God, thinks they're this, or thinks they're anything, can say, okay, I give you permission. No, they can't. You might believe it and try to do something, but you'll find out it's not going to work. Psychic abilities. How many people you see on this planet that have them? I'm not talking these extra powers that people get, like being able to work with numbers, being able. They're abilities that are taken from their past life, yes, but it's only one. And to be an ascension master, you have to master all 32 of them. Jesus did. Mary Magdalene did as well. I can go into that. I don't want to make this a religious story. Christmas and Easter, Christmas is over and Easter's a little bit away. So let's stick with, what are you going to get in life to make you spiritual? What are you going to do to attain it? Who are you going to study with? Who are you going to follow? Me? No, I don't like what you're saying. I don't believe that. Well, you probably won't. You probably don't care. You don't care enough for the truth. Anything that sounds sweet sounds good. And that's because they're controlled by the 5 senses of the brain, not soul. Soul lives inside this body, but it has to work 50-50 with the brain. Because the brain runs your motor sync and everything else. It runs you. Soul doesn't. Picture your body as just a car that your mind controls, like the computer chip in a car, where you are the one that gets in it, rides it and everything, but you get rid of it at the end as well. So when that car dies, I'm not talking like here you buy another car, but when that car dies, you're out of this realm. Do you stay out? Do you come back? And all those questions are based on your karma. Who and what you did, what you work with. Now, all these people that want to meet aliens go on a ship. Why? They're so bored with life, so unaware of anything, and they want to just change what they believe a little. So you see an alien, does that make him good? Well, he took me for a ride and he showed me all these things. How do you know it wasn't just a program? Which it becomes, because no alien's going to come and tell you why they're really here, taking you and doing what they're doing to you. They don't do anything good to people. They do not, people. Do you understand that aliens are real? They're not demons. I mean, religions try to mix that up. They're not entities. An alien is in a ship and eats food. All right? An ET, extraterrestrial, is more considered an extra-dimensional being. They don't need a car. They don't need a spaceship. They don't need anything. They just appear in your room. But what do they teach you? What are you going to learn? All these things are critical that you need to answer for yourself. You want to attain spiritual growth or wisdom? You got a lot to do to get there. I'm just trying to read something in the chat room. Jesus is doing what he's doing. He's teaching classes. All right? On a higher realm. There's only a few religions on this planet that teach anything important. Important. Meaning what soul's got to do when it leaves and comes back or not come back. And that's the first decision you got to really try to maintain and to understand that you're trying to work out. Not coming back. Not being attached to here and coming back because you're attached to it. People, I'm so sorry. I'm kind of wore myself out the first half hour when thought I was live, and I wasn't. Greetings, coming into the chat room. Question, put it in there if you want. I don't know if you heard anything we've been talking about, but I have been involved with doing shows for over 14 years. I was lecturing for about 6 years with Sargel 18. He changed his name from Sargel 18 to Lord Sargel. I think he's pulling out of the UFO world and hiding. I think he was bought out. That's just my opinion, people. If you know him and talk to him, fine. We always had our differences, and we always had a different situation between us, which I'm not going to get into, but we did separate. And I know, being Lord Sargel, claiming that he's a higher being now is, to me, another word that most people use, and I call it ego. I mean, I'm not saying he didn't always have an ego, which he always did. People with an ego are usually people with money. When you come into money, your ego gets bigger, thinking you're more important. But sadly, it's the opposite. The more money you have, the further away from the truth you become. I didn't say it, Jesus did. He said it many times too. All right, when you leave this reality and you go into the astral plane, what do you think you're going to do? Who do you think you're going to meet? How long do you think you're going to stay there? To do what? Do you understand anything about reincarnation? Why are you going to come back? There's a bunch of sayings, but I call them the 5 passions of the mind. But I don't use what a religion says. I use what I created for each one of them. And I break it down. I mean, it's called lust, greed, anger, vanity, and attachment. But I break it down to drugs, sex, cheap thrills, smoking, sports. All right. Sports is a big sponge for your brain on this planet. Pulls families into, pulls children. How much families have to spend to bring their children to a game and things like that? To pay somebody a multi-million-dollar salary to throw a ball around, or to hit a ball, to play with a ball. We're a ball society. That's why I said, does anybody have balls, really? Not golf balls, not pool balls, real balls. Meaning the courage to stand for their own truth. Which I have met nobody. One person, he'll debate me on some things online. He claims to be super famous. I'm willing anytime to bring people on my show for a debate if it's something that I feel is important. If it has to do with what we talk about. Yeah, the fireworks aren't stopping. I'm glad that you don't hear them right now. But they'll start again. Tonight around 11:30, it gets so bad. You think you're in the middle of a battlefield. And they shoot off the expensive fireworks, which are illegal here as well. People, when I ask you to go inside yourself and find the truth, can you? What are you looking for? The truth. Well, how do you know the truth is the truth when you find it? How do you know when a person says, well, this is the ultimate truth? Ask them, do you believe in God? Yes. Then ask them, do you believe God protects you? And then ask them why. See what kind of answer you get. I'm super congested right now. I don't know why, but people, life is short. 125 years is not a long time. Considering people like Tesla, he spent 10 years in a hotel room, his last 10 years of his life. A person that brought the most important, dangerous weapons to the planet. Time travel is evil, and so is all the weapons he was creating. But he's not the only one. United States has 12 companies in the United States, not companies, labs, working on viruses that have no cure. Why would they do that? You think about it. Think about why you don't hear the truth behind things. Why is gold and has always been the most important thing on the planet? Can you produce something that's important? I'm thinking like in all our history, 2,000 years, what did we create that was spiritual? Do we know what the word spiritual means? Do most people know? When I go into, I usually do a show every Tuesday about aliens and UFOs. I try to do a spiritual show once a week as well. But I'm going to be going, and I was going to do it a while ago, kind of got all kinds of things happening. My partner had to get a pacemaker put in, and lots of things were going down. So right now, what I'm doing, I'm going to try to set up a workshop. I don't know how many days. Basically, it'll be as many days as it takes me to get from start to finish. To go through the things you need to know. Period. That's it. Not the things you don't need to know. Not the things you don't have to care about. The things you have to care about, the things you have to know, and the things you have to work with. Well, astral projection is a starting point. Remote viewing is evil. So, again, you listen to other people, what people consider great, famous, and makes you spiritual doesn't make you spiritual. Mary Magdalene was the most spiritual woman on the planet, and she was called everything but spiritual. You know, life is short. 125 years isn't long. So you really need to bring your points together, what direction you're going, how fast you can do it, and if you really want to do it. Well, I'm not going to go much further because I've been going an extra half hour already. But sadly, I'm going to try to cut it out. So the show is recorded. Check the link. I don't know if I have to cut that half hour out, probably if it's just black. And then we can show the show from where it is. But people need to listen and understand what they think they are, what they think they know, who they think they're working with. But it's not the truth. Why did God come here? Joke in the chat room. Wish there was, but there isn't. People, it's up to you. You don't have much time. 125 years in this lifetime is not much. Because if you don't get anywhere further down the road, you're going to reincarnate back into this world with the same awareness that you don't have. All right? People, it's New Year's. It's a new year. You're going to be facing a lot of stuff this year. And I don't see anything really super good happening. The weather's already crazy. Just killed 40 people in New York. I mean, luckily the volcano stopped here. It could start any second again. We don't know. But the UFO world's escalating. Something's going to happen there. The war is escalating. Something's going to go down bad. It's already going down bad. So better find your priorities and figure out what's the next step for you to take to attain to be that you need to be and to attain what you need to attain in this lifetime to move forward. Well, I'm sorry everybody coming in a little bit late. The first half hour was late, I guess, for people because they didn't hear anything because it wasn't coming through. But I will go into my show and try to fix it a little. People coming in, I'm sorry. I'll stick around a couple. Anybody has a question, a real question, put it in the chat room. Anything pertaining to God, death, reincarnation, this planet, why you're here, and all that. Tina's okay. She'll be back on it in the new year. England's going through a lot of weird, bad stuff, and if I'll let her talk about it when she comes back. But they're taking away landlines from the people. They want to be able to listen to everybody that's talking on the internet or on the phone or anything. They're shutting the water off for periods of time. Oh, it's getting like kind of like a prison camp. Well, I have been Tina for 2 years already. And I look back and I said, man, we did it for that long? She's radioactive, people. And for real. And it's like nobody wants to give us any comments on that, which is really bizarre. I had a scientific friend, scientist, and he never got back to me on that. So it's up to you people. Are you ready to take a giant step into the truth, or are you going to stick up and stand by the lies that you're dealing with? There's no spiritual people here. To say you're a fifth, sixth, seventh dimensional being, delusional to yourself. All right, there might be a few aliens walking around. Not everybody that claims to be one is one, though. That's called programming. Galactic Confederation is a great program. Star Command, a great program. But it's up to you people what you're looking at. These entities, these demons, these creatures that are coming out now. Why? Because some person opened up a vortex and allowed it in. Well, we need to stop doing the bad things we're doing and try to write out the good things. But the first step is learning which one's which. Well, people, I'm going to wish you a happy New Year. May it be what you want, desire, need. If not, try to make it that. Don't give up. I know it's going to start getting noisy, and I got to check out my little guy out over there. But I've been around all these things, and you're not good. People say, why aren't you smiling? I said, I wish I had something to smile about. I mean, these people always smile, be happy. Know that you're the best you can be. You're not the best you can be. You wouldn't be here if you were the best you could be. You don't stay in hell if you're the best. You leave. All right? So, people, what we tell ourselves is not the truth. Yes, Mr. Sargel has changed his name to Lord Sargel, claimed he's a spiritual being, and pulled everything we ever did off the line. For the past 25 years, everything he could pull down, he did, including a show that we did, the preview that was on. He made sure that was taken down and they can't put it up again. All right. Again, I said, text me. I'm going to put it up there one time in case you don't like talking. All right. My email address, it's just one of them. Skype. Put that up there. All right. That's Hawksblood 11. I'd rather talk than type. But if you have questions, you want answers, whatever, text me. call me, whatever feels good for you. I don't lie, I don't cheat, and I answer all my mail mostly sooner, unless something really bad's happening. But enjoy the year. We're going to have a lot of things happening. Sure, the little good things are overpowered by all the bad things that are keeping happening. Check it out, people. I'm not trying to make you feel bad, just trying to make you face the facts. Till next Tuesday, or if I decide to do another show before then, peace, love, compassion. Till next time. Rev.Hawksblood from the big island of Hawaii. Oh, one last thing. How many people out there have AT&T? All right, if you do you have 5G? Did you notice a changing in it? All right, I kind of feel they always say we have the right to slow the lines down if it's overcrowded. Well, I had 5G for the past year and a half, and I never saw 5G. Then for a month, roughly last month, 5G was on my phone every day. Christmas Eve, 5G's gone again. And it's not on my phone again. So don't forget, 5G was created as a weapon. Not as a phone service or anything else. So if you notice, if it was shut down, I mean, I don't get 5G now. I could show it to you, but I don't know if you can read it. I doubt it. Too much light on it. But yeah, I was surprised to see it. I said, wow, they finally upgraded the 5G. And it went down again. So people, I'm sure they're playing with it. And I'm sure it's not a good thing. Nothing they do is a good thing when it comes to power, energy, truth. So again, till next time, people. You heard it here. If not, come back. You'll hear it again. There's a lot of things I want to get into, but I'm kind of like getting tired because I worked on this for about an hour and a half before I did it. I did it in a half hour to the space, and now half the night's gone already. All right, people. Hope you find what you're looking for, and don't ever stop looking.